Welcome to Coffee, Calm and Connection Bite Size, where we deliver key takeaways from our full interviews on current topics from mental health experts.
I think there is not enough space in our day-to-day, I think, interactions to talk about the stuff that really matters. Many of us are afraid to really think freely and talk freely and really be honest about what's difficult in my life. When somebody is asking us, I mean, when I first moved to this country, I was absolutely, fascinated by this way of greeting others. You're right. It's like, I guess so, right? I guess I am all right. It's like you're already expecting the other person to say, yes, I'm all right. So I think, these conversations are almost designed to make you pretend that everything is all right. And we're all wearing this mask all the time that, we're all polished and we're all, smiley all the time. And we take pictures that is always, full of happiness and smile or in a wonderful place. And so everybody, I think, goes on assuming that that happiness means to smile and have no pain, and have no problems. So when somebody asks you in the office, how are things and all of that, you just kind of say, oh yeah, it's all good, great, all of that. No room to talk about the real stuff. No room to talk about the fact that last night maybe you couldn't sleep because you're worried about whether or not you'll have your job tomorrow or the next month, whether or not you'll be able to pay your mortgage in the next month, or whether you're going to have to apply for an extension. Like, these are all real problems that real people have everywhere. But it feels like there is a conspiracy of silence around it in society, where we're all agreeing amongst each other that there are certain things that are not okay to talk about. We don't want to show the fact that, yes, I do have some vulnerabilities. I have major problems in my life, but so do you and everybody else here,
Yeah.
And that's what makes us human.
Two things have happened to me recently, which absolutely highlights that, but the reverse of it. So what I think has happened is COVID and the isolation has increased almost this burst of honesty. So I was in the supermarket with my 3 children, and all of them were badgering me for something, and I was on the edge, and I was like, oh my God, no, you can't have the marshmallows, put them back. And what happened was, my youngest walked past a lady's trolley, and he really went really close to this trolley and said, oh, there's chicken in there. And I said, sorry, he's a kid, obviously he likes chicken.
And curious, right? Curious.
And he's curious.
He notices.
And he, absolutely. So, and also the chicken was buried right at the bottom of the trolley. So I don't even know how he found it. But anyway, he said, oh, there's chicken in there. And I made a joke and carried on. And she said to me, don't worry, I've got 3 kids. And I said, oh, it's good fun, isn't it? Or something along those lines. Her next words were, I've actually got 4, but one of them's in her 20s and has left home. But don't, I know I don't look old enough to have 4 kids, jokey. And I said, you actually don't, I'm really surprised. How do you do it? What cream do you use? And she went on to tell me, this was a 3-minute conversation in a supermarket aisle, because my son looked at her the chicken in her trolley, that her husband had left her. She'd raised 3 kids on her own. She had a debilitating disease and was constantly in pain. She couldn't wear a face mask because she was exempt because of another issue. And it all just poured out of her. And we had a quick chat. I said to her, well, you look fabulous. I wish my skin was not as wrinkled. And it just made me think about how necessary it is to just be authentic in whatever vulnerable form that is.
Totally. Yeah. And it's so interesting that actually the catalyst to that, by the sounds of it, meaningful conversation you had was a child's innocence, right? A child not thinking so much about, I wonder what they will say if I were to make that comment, right? It's just like, you make it and see what happens. He observed the chicken, and then suddenly that led to a meaningful conversation between mom and this random other person. And actually, the thing that might be interesting to reflect on is, wonder how meaningful that conversation was for the lady who told you about all her difficulties. You know, imagine to just be able to have three-minute conversation to a completely random person who just listens.
Yeah.
You know,
that's completely how Coffee Calm Connection started. I was in a webinar that I was running, and we did a small group, and I got speaking to a lady, and we were slap bang in the middle of proper lockdown, and she was living on her own, and we happened to be talking, and again, she really just out of nowhere, this is the first interaction I've had, and I have so needed it. And I've got MS, and I can't, my back's sore, and my employee, and everybody's doing more than me. I'm seeing on Zoom and emails, all my fellow colleagues are so productive, and they seem to be nailing this whole thing. And everybody's going, oh, you know, taking travel out, and I've got so much more time. And she's going, oh my God, I can't make my brain work. And it was, again, really enlightening. And when lockdown first happened, there was a thing that went across social media, and I can't remember the exact words, but it was something like, if you can't use this time to learn a new language, you never lacked time, you lacked dedication. And I started lockdown going, oh, I should definitely learn a new language and homeschool 3 children and run 3 businesses. And actually, I'm failing at all of it. So I'm just a bad person. And that's how I started.
Exactly.
And it just, there's no real genuine understanding of people and emotions and how that plays into the world.